Okay, you are sitting in live, well, not live, but this is 15 Minutes with Marcus King. I'm sitting here with my good friend, Ronald Anderson, better known as RC. I've known him actually for my whole life. Ronald, you're a very successful person now. You basically run Proviso Township. But when we were kids growing up in Proviso Township, that didn't look like that was actually going to be your fate. From growing up and having a tough time as a very young juvenile to being a successful person that you are, how did it happen? How did that transpire for you?
Well, I wouldn't say I run Proviso Town. I don't want to give you phone calls.
Right.
I'm just an employee. They gotta have
A big responsibility, have a very big role.
a lot of responsibility. Well, facing a lot of trials and tribulations coming up. I had my run-ins with negative things going on in my life, my family. A lot of adversity. I guess they help build character. At the young age, I went through a lot of things, and at about 17, I had got focused and realized that I wanted to do better with myself. So I went to college. I had to come home after my first year because I had my son. So I really had to get focused then. I came home, started driving trucks. And as I drove trucks, I realized that my grandmother always told me I need to go back to school. So I had started going back to school. I got a bachelor's degree in computer programming. Let me back up first. I wanted to actually try to get a job in Proviso. And I got shot down by the board president, Chris Bush. He told me that I was bigger than being a maintenance guy. So he wouldn't let me have a job. He told me to go back to school,
Right.
and get an education, because if anything happens to him, they could take my job. They can't take my education. So I'll always be able to go somewhere. So that motivated me to go back to school. When I got my bachelor's degree in computer science. Then I didn't get promoted at my job when I went back. So I went back and got my MBA. Still didn't get promoted, so I'm back at my master's in project management. And after that, I was motivated to leave my job. I was there 12 years driving trucks.
Wow.
So then that's when I had the opportunity to go to Proviso. A job opened up, and I was the most qualified person for it. And been here since 2007. It's 2019 now. Trying to make a big difference in the district. Still mentoring kids. I coach the kids wrestling program, the Gladiators. Volunteer coach at Proviso West. My son went to Proviso West. My daughter went to Proviso Math Science Academy. So I didn't only come through the system. I came through Proviso West myself, and to show that it's a good school district, I brought my kids through it as well.
Nice. Yeah, that story is impactful. One of the things that really stands out to me is what Representative Chris Walsh said to you. He grew up in the area too, and as you know, we grew up together. I actually started out in this area, but I really like how there seems to be a pattern of giving back, of guidance. He lets you know that to just take a regular job, don't settle for less than you deserve. Chris saw the greatness in you. It's unfortunate that certain people didn't see this in us when we were kids, because we were both in the same remedial classes together. But aside from that, we both did okay for ourselves, because certain people like Chris Welch ended up reaching back and helped you, because he's older than us and guided you on the right path. So, I really appreciate him for the guidance that he gave you. And, by him touching you, I like the way you interact with the students and the way that you give back and the way that you help out the programs. Like when I was with the Illinois Department of Corrections, the Summit of Hope would you say the social advocacy, the civic engagement that you're involved in, is that consistent with the way that you actually grew up because you know something's better? Does that motivate you to help the elementary school kids, the high school kids, the junior high kids, and the returning citizens, the parolees? How do you feel about all of that? How impactful was your past in regards to the bridge that you build for the young people today?
Well, one of the biggest motivating factors was I really didn't have that. I had my father around, but he wasn't really around. My mom had her struggles with drugs, so I was raised with my grandparents, and so I put it in my head that there's no excuses. When I hear kids making excuses because they didn't have a father at home, or they didn't have a mother at home, or there's no excuses, because I feel like if I came from um, being inside of a special ed class to having a bachelor's degree and 2 master's degrees, there's no reason why kids should have to say that what they can't do because something's holding them back. That's impossible. Anything's possible when you put your mind to it. And now that I look at the kids and I see them as me, because I've been there. So my job is to motivate them and let them know that you can make it no matter if you have a 2-family household or grandparents raised you. There's no excuse why you can't be successful if you put your mind to it.
Right, exactly. My next question is, because you mentioned being in remedial classes, so one, I would never laugh at that. And two, even if I did think it was funny, I couldn't laugh because we were actually in the same class, bro. But we were there together the whole time. But this is what I'm wondering, and I want your thoughts, because it's something that I think about from time to time. So we both graduated from reputable universities with our undergraduate degrees. You got 2 masters. I actually just completed my master's program at Northwestern University in communications. So with that being said, it's clear that we aren't, dumb people that's the only word that I can think of now. So who went wrong? Where will we fail? Because it didn't seem like, I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just stating the fact. Northwestern is one of the top universities in the nation, and we both, both don't just have, college degrees, we have advanced degrees. So where did they go wrong? Because it's obvious that we didn't have learning disabilities, or we weren't as off as maybe they said we were, because we were in remedial classes, but it was to the extreme. Like I remember you and I was just sitting in the classroom all day. So where did they go wrong? To me, it seems like instead of trying to work with us a little bit more, it was easier to just go ahead and push us aside and say, hey, these guys are slow, they're never gonna amount to anything, put them in these remedial classes. I mean, where did they go wrong? Or what could they have done better? And this is a loaded question, but had they tried to work with us back then, when we were in 3rd grade, when we were in those remedial classes, when we missed out on so much, if they had worked with us more, do you think we could have gone further in life?
Well, we are far in life,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we would have had a head start instead of going to school later, like versus going right after high school. I think the education system was comfortable, so they instead of expecting more and getting more out of us, they just put us inside of a basement classroom or special ed classroom just because they said we would be these bad behavior. I mean bad discipline or whatever you call it. And just like my little brother, he has a bachelor's degree in aviation management, air traffic control, and a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in business administration. They hit him on Rittman, coming through the same sent me to the same school. I went to McKinley, I went to Roosevelt, and they hit him on Rittman, saying that he had a problem that he would never amount to anything. And here he is, he's successful as well. They program the students and program the teachers to think that we're not up to their standards, when in actuality they're not pushing us to be our best. They're not loving us like they used to love us, and giving us the motivation. Because when a student respects the teacher because the teacher is pushing them, that student's gonna go out of his way not to let the teacher down.
Right.
And I became an elected official in 2005 in 2005 to 2009, I was an elected official in Bellwood. I was a Bellwood school board member.
Nice.
And that was one of my goals, was to create programs to start getting these kids out of these remedial classes that's just displaced. And we have to raise our standards, because I travel all over the world, and places I travel, you see in other countries where students are expected to know 2 and 3 different languages in grammar school.
Right.
We don't have those expectations here. If I had known 2 or 3 different languages, I would have been in a different salary range a long time ago.
Yeah.
But the expectations are not there.
Right. What I noticed, and especially because, I ended up moving when we had our situation when I was here still as a kid, a preteen, when police, beat my father up, really bad. Same thing is happening today. But what I noticed was in the Proviso Township, and there's a lot of Proviso Townships all across the country. So Proviso has a lot of great things happening in this district, but at the same time, it's in Cook County, there's still, a high level of crime, high level of incarceration. And one thing that I noticed, I think it was maybe 7 years ago, when I first took over the Summer of Hope program with the Illinois Department of Corrections, the reentry event for people who are on parole and probation. And one of the things that I noticed, we had the event and we invited all of the parolees, returning citizens, people in the area. And it was like an elementary school reunion, because a lot of those kids that we grew up with, that we did grow up with, ended up in the system, in the Department of Corrections. In your opinion, because there's so many different views, people are saying a lot of different things, how we can bring down the rate of recidivism. For those people who don't know, that's the rate of people who are actually returning to a correctional facility once they are released. What can we do to not only bring down the rate of recidivism, but stop people from going into correctional facilities, period? Like, how do we slow it down?
Jobs. If a person's making money, they're not outside trying to knock you over your head to take your money.
Mm-hmm.
If a person's making money, they don't have time to do some of the crimes that they're in jail for. People get put into a system at a young age, and once you get put into the system, it's hard for you to get a job, because a lot of jobs are requiring fingerprints. They're requiring background checks. Even people, I know several people who went for jobs that didn't get the job because the application not only said, were you ever convicted of anything, it said, have you ever been arrested?
Wow.
And then you have to put down what you was arrested for, which automatically disqualified the person from the job, because they didn't get a call back. And that kind of thing discourages people. And then next thing you know, they turn to like a crime because they can't make any money. They have to feed themselves.
You got an excellent point too, because even with arrest doesn't count as a conviction, but in many cases, you still have to get it expunged off your record. And that's a lot to have to deal with. It's a lot to chew. Well, our system is broken. It's not designed for everybody to make it. And I don't feel like we can tell this lie to another generation. But what I've always felt was a sense of urgency to give back. And aside from our long history together of just being in elementary school, I always appreciated your sense of civic engagement and duty to try to make the world a better place. We always hear these talks about making America great, but what you're doing here at this level, this is really how you make America great again. And, we have to come up with something. There's a big focus on, reentry, talking about for people on parole and probation. That's very important. We can't stop, because there's too many people who are incarcerated, especially Black and browns. Up in the state of Illinois, Black people make up 60% of the state's inmate population, yet we're only 15% of the state's population. So something has to collectively change. Well, old friend, it was a pleasure having you on 15 Minutes with Marcus, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Ugh.